Chapter 12. The Forces of Evil. When Flora came back upstairs after dinner, she found Ulysses curled up in a tight little ball, sleeping on her pillow. She put out her hand and touched his forehead with one finger. His eyes twitched, but they still didn't open. She picked up the pillow and moved it carefully to the foot of the bed. She changed into her pajamas, lay down, and imagined the words. A superhero squirrel rested at her feet, so she was not lonely at all. Emblazoned in the ceiling above her. Well, that's exactly right, she said. Before the divorce, before her father had moved out of the house and into an apartment, he had often sat beside her at night and read to her aloud from The Illuminated Adventures of the Amazing Incandesto. It was his favorite comic. It always cheered him up to read about Alfred T. Slipper and Dolores. Her father did an excellent parakeet imitation. Holy Bagumba, he would say in the voice of Dolores. Wholly unanticipated occurrences. Wholly unanticipated occurrences was what Dolores would say when something truly unexpected and unbelievable was happening, which was basically all of the time. Life was pretty exciting when you were Incandesto's parakeet. Flora sat up and looked down at the sleeping squirrel. Wholly unanticipated occurrences, she said. It sounded better when her father said it. Not that he said it these days. He didn't say much of anything anymore. Her father had always been a sad, quiet man, but since the divorce, he'd become even sadder and quieter. Which was fine with Flora. Really, cynics don't like a lot of chatter. Besides, Alfred T. Slipper was a quiet man too. For instance, when he was on tour of the Incandesto manufacturing facility and fallen into the vat of Incandesto, he hadn't said a single word, not even oops. Words had appeared above his head, however, and Flora's father had read those words to her so many times that she could recite them by heart. Here are those big comic book words. He is an unassuming janitor, but he will dare to battle the darkness of the universe. Do you doubt him? Do not. Alfred T. Slipper will live to fight the forces of evil. He will become known to the world as Incandesto. Flora lay back down. If the scroll were in a comic, she thought, what words would have appeared in the space over his head when he was sucked into a vacuum cleaner? Here are the words she thinks of. He is an unassuming squirrel. Yep. But he will soon conquer villains of all stripes. He will defend the defenseless and protect the weak. That sounded good too. He will become known to the world as Ulysses. Holy Bagumba. Anything can happen. Together, she and Ulysses could change the world. Or something. Do not hope. Instead, observe. Flora whispered to calm herself down. Just observe the squirrel. And then she fell asleep. This is the last chapter we get to read together. It's called The Typewriter. Chapter 13. He woke in the darkness. His heart was beating very fast. Something had happened. What was it? He couldn't think. He was too hungry to think. He sat up and looked around the room. He was in bed, and Flora's feet were in his face. She was snoring, and he could see the outline of her round head. He loved that head. But man, he was hungry. The door to the bedroom was open. Ulysses got off the pillow and went out of the room. He crept along the dark hallway. He went down the stairs and past the little shepherdess. The house was dark, but there was a light on in the kitchen. The kitchen! That was exactly where he needed to be. He put his nose up, and he sniffed. He smelled something cheesy, wonderful. He ran through the living room and the dining room to the kitchen, and he climbed up on the counter, and there it was, a lone cheese puff perched on the edge of the red formica countertop. He ate it. It was delicious. I think it must be like a Cheeto. Maybe there were more cheese puffs. He opened the cabinet. Oh, yes. There was a big bag with the beautiful words, Cheese-O-Mania, written in golden script on the front of it. He ate until the bag was empty, and then he burped softly, gratefully, and looked around the kitchen. What does he see? If you have your book out, you can find this page. There he is. That's before we had computers. People used to type on typewriters. My grandpa used to write me letters on typewriters. Here's another page of pictures. In the darkened kitchen, the unassuming squirrel worked slowly. His whiskers trembled. His heart sang. Was he fighting evil? Who could say? And on this page, he's starting to type. You see the letters S, and then he's thinking. And then over here it says SQ, and he's celebrating. All right, I can't wait to hear what you think of this story. Have a great day, boys and girls.